Hi everyone, welcome to the monthly meetup of WordPress Bengaluru, and Topher is going to talk about how to increase e-commerce conversions. So the co-host for today's meetup is Sagar, and Alexander Gounder from Mumbai has contributed with this Zoom premium account so that we can have a seamless meeting without a limit of 40 minutes. Topher, the stage is yours.
All right.
All start. You can, yes. Just one announcement. If anybody is, okay, if anybody is, has any questions, please type in the chat, and at the end, I'm sure Topher will take some of those questions. Thanks, Topher.
Yeah. Yep. I have a question. I would like to know who's doing e-commerce now in the room here. How many people are currently doing e-commerce as opposed to just want to?
Any?
Oh, nice. I like the thumbs up thing. That's handy.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Whoa, lots more people joining all of a sudden. Okay, cool. How many people are doing e-commerce with something other than WooCommerce? I see no thumbs. All right, so this is the WooCommerce crowd. All right. So let me share my screen. All right, there we go. So we're going to talk today about how to increase e-commerce conversions. I gotta click there. So my name is Topher. I live in Michigan in the United States. That's on the northern edge of the states, and so we are still occasionally getting snow in the mornings, but just a very little bit. But it gets cold here. I'm a senior developer advocate at BigCommerce, which is an e-commerce SaaS. I've been in web development for 25 years now, doing WordPress for 10 years. And I have sort of moved out of development a little bit, and I'm doing more talking at meetups and presenting things, stuff like that. This is not going to be a talk about BigCommerce per se, but I wanted to point out that we have a cool plugin for WordPress that does e-commerce, and I think it does a better job than Woo. So that's my pitch right there. So let's move on. We're going to talk about e-commerce conversion rates, what they are, how to measure them, and how to monitor them, and then we'll do some steps on how to increase them. So people typically think of an e-commerce conversion as a sale. That's the holy grail of e-commerce, is you want people to buy stuff. But a conversion is simply the accomplishment of a goal, an arbitrary goal that you set up. And you can set these goals to measure a wide variety of things so that you can get a better handle on how people are using your site. So you could also measure how many people add a product to their cart or their wish list, how many people add a product to their cart and don't buy, number of email signups, social media shares, and really anything that you want to measure. You can have conversions without e-commerce at all. If you're having an event and you just put up a form for people to sign up, when they sign up, it's a conversion. So keep in mind that we're not just talking about sales here. The conversion rate is the percentage of website visitors who purchase something from your online store or met any goal in a set period of time. And an average e-commerce conversion rate is 1 to 2%. And that really surprised me. Before I got into e-commerce, I assumed that everybody who came to your store bought something, but 1 to 2% is where it stands. Even if you're doing everything right, you can still expect to win the sale around 2% of the time. So that should be the baseline goal for your store, is 2%. If you're doing better than that, then you have something magic happening. To calculate it, you divide the number of visitors by the number of conversions to get a percentage. So if your store is getting 5,000 visitors and 50 conversions for a set period, that means your store's conversion rate is 1%. Obviously, if you had 100 conversions, then you would be at 2%. So let's look at some tools to monitor conversion rates. Heat maps are amazing. I like the technology behind them is amazing to me. The JavaScript these days can track pixel by pixel where your mouse is. In the image here on the right, there are two different kinds of heat maps going on. On the very right, where it's all red, that's what people see first because that's what loads. And then the yellow and green are what people see as they scroll, and it's changing colors because people don't scroll. They come to the home page and they leave. On the left, in the top left up by the Web Mechanics logo, you'll see that there's a blurry spot over a button. That's because people are putting their mouse there and clicking. And you want that. You want people clicking on your button. So if you were to have a button somewhere else on this page and there was no colored blob, you would know that either you need to move the button to where people are looking or change the page somehow to make people look at your button. Pardon me, I have a little bit of allergies today. I'm going to mention several apps and programs in this talk. I'm not affiliated with any of them. They're just cool apps. So Hotjar is one of them. It's a tool that allows you to set up a heat map on your site, and you can see what people are looking at. Oh, that's the other interesting thing. People look at their mouse a lot, or they move their mouse to where they're looking. I don't know which it is, but it's the same. So people are actually looking at that button as well. Next, you want to find out who your customers are. And Quantcast is an amazing app that can figure out way more than I'm comfortable with being able to figure out. If you look at that chart on the right there, they can figure out how old people are, how much money they make, how much education they have, ethnicity, gender, all kinds of stuff like that. Things that you wouldn't guess that they'd be able to figure out just from the way the mouse moves around the page and how people are clicking. But if you are making products for an older demographic and your audience is younger, then either you need to change your product to fit your audience or do something to get your audience to come to your website. And that fits for just about anything in here. You need to market to either sell to the audience you have or do something to change the audience to what you are desiring. And then find out where they're going. I'm sure you're all familiar with Google Analytics. I'm not sure you're aware that they have some excellent e-commerce tracking. Every iteration, there was GA.js, and then there was analytics.js, and now there's Google Tag Manager. Each one has increased its abilities in e-commerce tracking. So you can see where they're from, how they found your site, whether they're returning or not, all the normal analytics stuff. But you can also create conversion goals in Google Analytics and say, I want to track how often people put something in the cart but don't buy. Now that's not something that comes out of the box with Google Analytics. You just get to create that recipe. And so this talks back to the conversions we were talking about at the beginning, think beyond just the sale and tell Google what you want to track, and it can help you do that. So find out what your customers want. This would be looking at the built-in analytics in your e-commerce platform. The picture here is from BigCommerce, but Woo has the same sort of data. Find out what people are buying most and what they're buying least. Get more of what they're buying most, and maybe drop the products they're buying least. They're a headache, waste of time. Find out what people are returning. If you have a high sale on a product, but everybody returns it, that's no good to you at all. And then find out what people are searching for. If you find that they're searching for something you're already selling, maybe your navigation and presentation aren't right because they have to search for it. If people are searching for something you're not selling, maybe you should get that thing and sell it. So that was 4 things. Go back here. Track what your customers are doing. Find out who your customers are. Find out where they're going. And find out what they want. So once you have that information, here's some tips on how to take action. Offer free shipping. Amazon has spoiled us with free shipping from Prime. People have come to assume that it's going to be there. And if they don't see it, they'll probably go somewhere else. And you may ask the question, well, how can I afford to offer free shipping? Shipping's expensive. You roll the price into the product. That's what Amazon does. So then the customer is still paying, but it feels to them like they're not paying. And that's a big key. As long as they feel like they're getting a deal, people will buy, whether they're getting a deal or not. Provide limited time coupon codes. And there are 2 important things here. Coupon codes are important because, as I said, people love to feel like they're getting a deal. But it's important to provide them for a limited time. Excuse me for just a moment. I need to. I don't know how to mute. Thank you. I have, as I mentioned, I have some allergies. Need to step away for a sec. All right. So, limited time. If you just provide a coupon code, people think, oh, that's great. Sometime later, I can go by and get a deal. Some other day, I can get a deal. And then they don't. They forget. Or the coupon gets abused because you leave it up forever. Limited time gives a sense of urgency. People think, I need to use this soon or I'll lose it. And then they'll buy. So this is a 2-pronged thing here. You provide the coupon code and you make it limited time. And make it obviously a limited time. Use cart abandonment software. If you're not familiar with it, this is where the customer puts something in their cart, puts their email address in as a guest shopper, and then doesn't buy. They forget, their child calls them, they get a phone call, their boss, whatever. They just don't buy. Cart abandonment software will email them and say, hey there, I see you put something in your cart, but you did not buy. If you click this link right here, we'll take you right back to your cart and you can buy quickly and easily. That has shown to greatly increase sales. Pippin Williamson has a wonderful blog post about how things changed for his company when they started doing cart abandonment software. The good stuff has the link right inside the email to a preloaded cart. so that they don't have to go back and put things in their cart again. Not all cart abandonment software does that. So shop around. If you're using BigCommerce, we have it built in and it's free. If you're using WooCommerce, there are quite a few plugins that you can try. Let customers check out as guests. You want to remove as many barriers to purchase as possible. The more barriers you have, the fewer people will check out. And requiring someone to register, to fill out a big long form to tell you where they live is a barrier. People think, I don't want to do that. I just want to buy this thing. I'm never coming back to your store. I just want to buy the thing. And so if you allow them to simply put in an email address as a guest, then that lowers that barrier and more people will buy. Have a great product return policy. One of the things that keeps people from buying is a fear that they will buy the wrong thing and then be stuck with it and not have the money to buy the thing they needed. So they've lost their money. They have a thing they don't want and they can't get the thing they need. If you can reassure them that if they get the wrong thing, you will give them their money back, then that removes that entire fear and they will buy. So it needs to be clear and simple and visible. If you have a tiny link in the bottom of your page with your return policy, people aren't going to see it and they're going to still have that fear. So even if you have a good one, if nobody knows, that doesn't help. So you need to be very clear about it. It needs to be simple for just the average person to understand, and it needs to be useful. It needs to work. If you don't want to do returns, but you feel like you have to, so you write a policy that makes it difficult or unpleasant, then that's no good. It's not doing it. You need to have a clear, simple return policy. Make your add to cart and checkout buttons prevalent. This is a problem that a lot of web developers run into. They build a design and they're so close to it. They know it so well. They know exactly where all the buttons are. How could you possibly not see that button? But a normal person comes up to a new design and says, no, I don't see the button. So for this, you need to do user testing. Have someone who's never seen your design just sit down and say, add something to your cart, and watch them do it. If it's super simple, then you've got a good design. But if they hunt around a little bit, even just a tiny bit, then you need to change something to make it much more visible. A frustrated shopper will probably just leave. They might buy because they might just really need the thing you have, but they'll certainly never come back. So let's summarize. You need to streamline your process, remove as many obstacles as you can, make it easy. If it's not easy, then people are not going to buy. Make people feel like they're getting a great deal. You don't have to give them a great deal. They just need to feel like they're getting a great deal. So you offer coupons. You, excuse me, you have a great return policy. You offer free shipping. Just anything to make them feel like this is the place I need to be. This is the place I need to buy this thing that I need. I don't want to go shop somewhere else, because that would be more frustrating than just buying from right here, right now. You can get many more ideas on this cool blog post. I'll send the link around in chat, and I'll send the slides as well so that you can click on it if you want. You can find me online at Topher1Kenobi on Twitter or the Make WordPress Slack. You can email me anytime. I'm happy to discuss anything that we talked about here anytime you want. So hunt me down and we'll have some good conversations. that is my presentation. So let's do some questions and answers. I don't see any in the chat. That means my talk was so perfect that you now know everything, right?
Thanks. There is a question there. Yeah, there is a question there, Topher.
Let's see.
Somebody's asking. Okay. No, not yet.
Okay.
So, Topher, first of all, thank you very much for a lovely talk. We'll wait for a few questions. If anybody has questions, please type in the chat, and Topher will answer immediately.
Yeah. I want to thank you for having me. I really enjoy man, I don't even know how to say this. I have many friends in India and I enjoy all of them. Lots of talks on Slack and Twitter.
So, everybody from India loves you.
Yeah. Do I recommend tools like Jilt over MailChimp? I struggle to recommend one tool over another because they each have their own feature set. So MailChimp does some things that Jilt does not, and then Jilt does some things that MailChimp does not. So I always recommend that you try as many as you can and find the one that fits your need.
Anybody, friends, any questions for Topher? Of course, he's always there on Twitter to answer any questions. But any questions right now? Or any feedback on the webinar format? Did you all enjoy? So how many people enjoyed this? Let's give a thumbs up to Topher. How many people enjoyed this webinar today?
I'm seeing a whole bunch of questions come in. Haha, thanks for the thumbs. All right. So there's like 8 questions all at once now. So I'm going to start at the top and go down through them. Can you explain something about campaigning? Could be email or Facebook ads. Yes, I can. I have a whole WordCamp talk about this. Something that's happening is that it's getting more and more difficult to run ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, that sort of thing. More difficult than it used to be. When Google ads first came out, it was very simple. Everybody signed up, dropped a little code in, and everybody was making money. Well, the margins are getting narrower these days, and it's getting more difficult technologically. It's a little more complicated than just grabbing a little code and sticking it someplace. And so fewer people are doing it, and the people who are doing it are dedicating more time to it and sort of becoming experts at it. So where previously you were a web developer who did Google ads, now you're maybe ending up being a Google Ads specialist catering to web developers. And regular store owners and things like that are moving away from things like ads. And what they're moving to is content marketing, which is where WordPress really shines. Woo has always known this. BigCommerce chose our WordPress plugin first for our headless effort because WordPress is so great at content marketing. And so when I talk about content marketing, I mean doing really high quality blog posts about a specific product. Things like unboxing videos on YouTube are extraordinarily popular because it allows you to experience what it's like to unbox a product, to see what the instructions are like, how the product is made, and all that kind of stuff. If you can make that kind of content and have it be on your store, then you're going to draw a lot of traffic. You'll draw way more traffic than you would with some Google ads on the side or Facebook ads or things like that. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't be doing those ads. It's just that it's getting more difficult with a smaller return. And so you should be focusing on content marketing because that's really working. And it's so easy. If you're already in WordPress, then why not? Let's see. Something a little more generic. E-commerce. Oh, it scrolled. Hang on. I gotta find it again. How do you see e-commerce coping with the current crisis? I also have a talk about that. Somebody just the other day asked for that, and so I took this talk and pivoted a little bit. E-commerce always does well in crises like this, where people are sitting at home. And there's two groups of people in the world right now. There are those who have lost their job and don't have as much money, and those who have kept their job. And while they don't have more money, it feels like they have more money because they're not going out and shopping and buying at the store and things like that. And so they buy online, and they buy, something to keep them from being bored. I have a friend who bought a whole bunch of Raspberry Pi and Arduino stuff to build cool robots with his son. People are buying video games. People are buying movies, stuff like that. So you really have two audiences that are kind of new. You have those who are hurting and don't have a lot of money and could really use anything you can do to help with coupons and free shipping and all that stuff. And then there are those who have maybe extra cash and you want to offer things to them as well. So you have to do like a balancing act. Let's see, what's the next one? We should review the heat map of mouse button to see the customer focus. Can you explain how effective it is? Heat maps are extraordinarily effective at figuring out where the mouse is. They're really, really good at it. Understanding what that means is something completely different. And there are people who are better at it than others. It's very, very psychological. You have to look at what people are doing and then use your own mind to try and figure out what that means. So technologically, heat maps are great. Psychologically, that's another story altogether. Can I name some sites which followed my guidelines? No, sorry. I should get some. That would be a great idea. At BigCommerce, when somebody signs up, we have a list of recommendations to help them with their store. And a lot of the things that I mentioned here are given to those people. So many stores on BigCommerce will follow these rules because they say to us, how do I, and we say, here, do these things. So if you go to pretty much any store on BigCommerce, you will probably see many of these things being used. I'll find some and I'll post back. Do you guys have a Slack that you like? Does this group right here that I'm looking at all hang out on a specific Slack a lot? Yeah. Okay. I'll see if I can get in there and post some more information about that. Is there a good alternative of WooCommerce? Yes, my product. There aren't a ton of good e-commerce platforms in WordPress anymore. Woo made many of them dry up and go away. Our product with BigCommerce for WordPress, I think, is a valid competitor for Woo. We've always said that we don't want to get rid of Woo or destroy Woo. We want to be a companion, another alternative. So if you're, if you want to try something other than Woo, try BigCommerce for WordPress. It's in the WordPress.org repository. You just install it like a normal plugin. And there's a 15-day trial, free trial. And actually, I think right now during the coronavirus, it's a 90-day trial, which is a big difference. That gives you time to actually spin up a store and be selling things inside your trial. So that's my recommendation. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't skip anything. Some performance-related tips for WooCommerce and common mistakes you see with setups. So, WooCommerce's number one performance problem is that it uses the WordPress database structure, and the more successful you are, the slower the database runs. So at the beginning, you turn it on and it's blazing fast. After you have maybe 100,000 orders, then it starts running much, much slower. And there are things you can do to mitigate that, like using good caching, adding more server resources, etc. That's not really going to help your back end that much. So the front may be fast for your customers, but when you log in, it might take minutes to load your customer table, and that's no good. And traditionally, people have done things like throw money at the server, add more RAM, more CPU, make it go faster. But then you're eating into your profits. If you can make it go faster without spending money, that's obviously ideal. Ways that people have gotten around this is using alternative database structures. That's what Liquid Web did to make theirs go so fast. Yoast pretty much rewrote the entire back end of WooCommerce because their volume is so high that they were running into exactly what I said. It was ridiculously slow. So they're also using custom database tables. And I think there is a plugin on .org to make Woo use alternative database tables. It makes custom ones, so you have to be on a host that allows that. I don't think WordPress.com does yet, but most hosts do. So the number one speed thing is to switch to an alternative database structure, which is not a trivial thing. If you already have a busy store, switching database structures is a spooky thing. So I'm going to pitch my own product again. BigCommerce WordPress doesn't have this problem because we store information like customers and orders on the BigCommerce servers. So the database never grows the way that Woo's does. And I think in the future, Woo's might start doing that. So same sort of thing with Jetpack. They're already moving a lot of things into Jetpack. I can really see Woo moving to a SaaS model like BigCommerce does, leveraging Jetpack. But that's conjecture. I have nothing to back that up. Can I recommend WooCommerce with an LMS? I don't have a ton of experience, but I've been working with Lifter, not the product, but the company, quite a bit lately. And I know that Lifter LMS works quite well with Woo. I would not use Woo to sell access to Lifter to your learning. Lifter does that by itself very nicely. But if you're also selling products, you're going to sell books alongside, then Woo and Lifter go quite well together. Ravi's used Hotjar, and it's great. Awesome. And there's Slack. Here's one. How do you deal with the trust issue with our own e-commerce sites? Let's say Amazon is a big brand and more trustable, and people are more likely to buy from Amazon than your website. This is a wonderful question. The key is to create a relationship with your customers, and that's hard. But if you can pull it off, then you will do very well. So let's say you start with a brand new store and you get one sale. It's your first sale. Contact that person personally, email them, maybe call them, say, hi, you bought from my store and you were the first person, and I love you for that. You're my favorite person today. Here's a coupon for next time. They are going to remember you forever. You will then become their favorite person that day, and they will always buy from you rather than Amazon. Now, that doesn't scale very well. If you suddenly have 10,000 customers, you can't call them all, but maybe call 1% or email, reach out, do everything you can to make your customer base the same as your friend base. And a friend will always buy from you rather than Amazon. As I said, it's hard if it scales. I mean, if you've got 10,000 buyers, then they're obviously trusting you. But you need to do whatever you can to make people admire your store. It's more than just trust. You need to make them fans, make them excited, make them want to tweet that, hey, I just bought this thing from the store and it was amazing. Then other people are going to start doing the same thing. This is not a fast turnaround. This takes time and energy and a lot of work, but then so does starting a business. So it's just one more thing you have to do. And I think I've gotten to the end of the questions, unless anybody has any more. If I missed one, please repeat it. Awesome. Marketing plugin I recommend. No, not really. They're all pretty decent. As I mentioned with the email plugin, I really recommend that you try as many as you can and use the one that works for you. Different marketing types matter as well. Email marketing is very, very different from content marketing, which is different from, ad marketing and things like that. And different audiences respond to different types. So don't just try, 6 email marketing tools. Also try a variety of other marketing tools. I'm grabbing the Slack link right now. All right. I think we don't have any more questions. We're about to wrap up.
So once again, thank you very much, Topher. We really appreciate you waking up early and getting ready and joining us and giving a fantastic session. And we saw lovely questions, actually. That was very nice to see interactive session. And
Yeah, that was
yeah,
it was actually the best questions I've gotten from a virtual talk so far.
that's lovely.
Was,
So,
you guys are really great.
And we all love you, Topher.
Thank you.
Love to your family, and give my best regards to your distant cousin, Ben Kenobi.
I will.
Yep. So you really are, you gave us the Jedi wisdom of e-commerce conversion today. Thank you very much. So
Yeah.
on behalf of the whole meetup, thank you very much. There are a few things here. Okay, thanks Topher. Thanks Topher. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Everybody is thanking. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you
Topher.
all.
Yep. So
Alrighty.
have a great day, Topher.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.